The scoreboard only showed two numbers: 6-3, 6-4. Efficient, easy to scroll past. But what happened on a grass court in Bad Homburg was far bigger than the scoreline anyone saw. Because hidden inside those two sets was a moment that may have changed the trajectory of a young career forever. Most people watched the match, applauded politely, and moved on. They saw a legend. They saw a teenager. They saw a doubles win. And then they forgot about it. But if you were paying attention, if you looked beyond the result and focused on what was actually unfolding point by point, something extraordinary became impossible to ignore. A 17-year-old from the Philippines stepped onto one of the most demanding surfaces in tennis beside a 7-time Grand Slam champion and quietly delivered a message the entire sport may soon be forced to acknowledge. Alex Eala is arriving faster than anyone expected. And the most shocking part is that Wimbledon had not even begun. But before we get to the moment that made the crowd gasp, before we talk about the partnership that nobody expected to work this quickly, we need to go back. Because stories like this don't begin under bright lights. They begin in places nobody sees. Long before cameras followed her matches and headlines celebrated her victories, Alex was fighting battles that never appeared on scoreboards. The version of her that walked onto that court in Germany was built through years of sacrifices invisible to almost everyone. Talent helped open the door. But talent alone never gets you here. The truth is, becoming a world-class tennis player is difficult anywhere. But trying to build that dream in a country where tennis is not the dominant sporting obsession creates an entirely different challenge. Every opportunity becomes more valuable because every opportunity is harder to find. Every improvement demands more effort. Every step forward requires belief before there is evidence. For years, Alex continued showing up, training, traveling, learning, losing, improving, repeating the process over and over while most of the tennis world wasn't watching. That is the part people miss. They see the breakthrough but not the years spent creating it. And that hidden history matters because Bad Homburg wasn't the beginning of anything. It was the collision point of everything that came before it. Every early morning practice, every difficult decision, every sacrifice made by her family, every lesson learned through victories and heartbreaks. All of it was moving toward a moment that nobody recognized in real time. Yet once it happened, it became impossible to forget. Then there was Venus Williams. The moment the partnership was announced, people immediately focused on the obvious storyline. One of the greatest players in tennis history standing beside one of the sport's most promising young talents. It felt symbolic, inspirational, almost ceremonial. Many expected the legend to dominate the spotlight while the teenagers simply enjoyed the experience. That assumption lasted until the match actually started. Because Venus Williams did not walk onto that court looking for a celebration. She walked onto that court looking for a win. From the opening games, there was an intensity in her movement that demanded attention. Her serve exploded off the grass with authority. Her court positioning was sharp. Her focus was unmistakable. Anyone expecting a nostalgic appearance quickly realized they had misunderstood the situation. Venus wasn't there to relive memories. She was there to compete. Yet somehow, she wasn't the biggest surprise on the court. That distinction belonged to Alex. What happened next unfolded slowly enough that many viewers didn't immediately notice it. There wasn't one dramatic moment. There wasn't one spectacular highlight. Instead, there was a growing realization. Point after point, game after game, Alex wasn't simply surviving. She wasn't hiding behind her legendary partner. She was influencing the match. And that's where the story becomes fascinating. Because grass courts don't care about potential. They expose reality. Every weakness becomes visible. Every hesitation gets punished. Every technical flaw becomes a target. Players who look comfortable on hard courts can suddenly appear lost on grass. Even experienced professionals need years to master its demands. The bounce stays low. The pace accelerates. Decision-making becomes compressed into fractions of a second. There is no time to think, only time to react. Which is why what Alex was doing felt so unusual. She moved as if she belonged there. Her footwork looked natural. Her balance remained stable during difficult exchanges. She adjusted effortlessly to awkward bounces. More importantly, her decisions arrived instantly. Attack here. Defend there. Move forward now. Hold position now. The choices came with the confidence of someone who trusted her instincts completely. That level of comfort cannot be improvised. It cannot be faked. It is the result of thousands of repetitions buried deep inside muscle memory until preparation becomes automatic behavior. And suddenly a question began forming inside the minds of everyone watching. How is she doing this already? At 17, most players are still trying to understand grass. Alex looked like she was already speaking its language. Then the pressure arrived. Because experienced opponents always adjust. Harrison and Osborne understood exactly what was happening on the other side of the net. They recognized the growing confidence. They saw the momentum. And they knew they had to disrupt it before it became impossible to stop. The first set belonged to Alex and Venus. 6-3. Professional. Controlled. Convincing. But the second set felt different almost immediately. The opponents increased their aggression. Their shot selection became bolder. Their intent became clearer. And then they made a strategic decision that changed the atmosphere of the entire match. They targeted Alex. Not randomly. Deliberately. Whenever pressure increased, they directed it toward the youngest player on the court. Whenever tension rose, they tested her. Whenever the match demanded composure, they forced her to prove she possessed it. It was the oldest question in competitive sports. Can the young player handle the moment? The rallies became longer. The games became tighter. The margin for error became smaller. And something interesting happened. Alex never blinked. What nobody realized at that moment was that the real battle was no longer tactical. It was psychological. Harrison and Osborne weren't just hitting tennis balls anymore. They were searching for uncertainty. They were searching for nerves. They were searching for the smallest crack in a teenager's confidence. But they couldn't find one. The crowd felt it too. There is a unique silence that appears during important matches. Not the silence of boredom. The silence of anticipation. The silence that arrives when hundreds of people sense that something meaningful is developing but cannot yet predict the outcome. That silence settled across the court. Every point started feeling heavier. Every rally carried greater significance. And then came the moment that changed everything. Not because it won the match. Because it revealed something deeper. The rally stretched longer than expected. Both sides refusing to give ground. The pressure building with every shot. The angles shrinking. The options disappearing. From her position on the court, Alex appeared trapped. The geometry was against her. The percentages were against her. Logic suggested the point was already over. Then she saw something nobody else saw. In a fraction of a second, she created an angle that shouldn't have existed. The shot exploded across the court. Precise. Untouchable. For a brief moment, nobody reacted. Then the crowd erupted. Not with ordinary applause. With disbelief. Because everyone watching understood they had just witnessed something unexpected. The kind of shot that makes people look at each other and laugh in amazement because they cannot immediately explain what they just saw. And perhaps the most important reaction came from the person standing closest to her. Venus Williams turned and looked at Alex. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't theatrical. It lasted only a moment. But it carried enormous meaning. Because champions recognize things before everyone else does. And in that brief glance, there seemed to be an unspoken acknowledgement. A realization. A recognition. The understanding that this teenager was no longer trying to prove she belonged. She already did. What happened after that shot was even more revealing than the shot itself. Moments of brilliance happen in tennis all the time. A player produces something spectacular, the crowd explodes, and then reality returns. The true test is what comes next. Can the player sustain it? Can they handle the attention that follows? Can they carry the weight of rising expectations while the match is still being played? Alex answered those questions immediately. Instead of celebrating, she reset. Instead of chasing another highlight, she returned to the next point. That may sound simple, but it is one of the hardest skills in professional sports. Great athletes understand that emotional control often matters as much as talent. One incredible shot can win a rally. Discipline wins matches. And that discipline began showing itself everywhere. The communication between Alex and Venus became sharper. The trust between them became more visible. This is where the story moved beyond individual talent and became something even more fascinating. Doubles partnerships usually require time. Players need weeks, sometimes months, to fully understand each other's tendencies. They need experience together. Shared victories. Shared mistakes. Shared pressure. Yet somehow, these two players looked connected almost immediately. One player moved forward and the other instinctively covered the open space. One anticipated a cross-court exchange while the other protected the line. Their positioning seemed natural rather than rehearsed. They weren't constantly discussing every adjustment. They were reading each other. That kind of chemistry cannot be forced. It emerges when two competitors see the court in similar ways and trust each other enough to act without hesitation. The remarkable part wasn't just that it existed. The remarkable part was how quickly it appeared. And that revealed something important about Alex. Players do not earn trust from legends simply because they are promising. They earn trust by making the right decisions under pressure. They earn trust by showing reliability when the stakes increase. They earn trust by proving that big moments do not overwhelm them. Point by point, game by game, Alex was doing exactly that. Meanwhile, Harrison and Osborne continued searching for answers. They attacked. They adjusted. They increased the pressure. But every challenge seemed to produce the same response. Composure. Confidence. Execution. The match remained competitive, but the momentum had started shifting in a deeper way. It was no longer about individual points. It was about belief. You could sense it happening. Alex and Venus were beginning to play with the certainty of a team that expected to win. Their opponents were beginning to play with the urgency of a team trying to stop it. That difference matters. Because tennis is often decided before the final point is played. There comes a stage when one side starts imposing its will while the other side starts reacting to it. The scoreboard may not show it immediately, but everyone on the court can feel it. And that feeling was growing stronger. Then came another critical realization. The performance unfolding in Germany was not about potential anymore. For years, people described Alex using the same word: potential. Potential is a comfortable word. Potential allows people to admire a player without fully committing to belief. It creates room for caution, room for doubt, room to say, let's wait and see. But there comes a moment when potential stops being the right description. There comes a moment when evidence replaces projection. Bad Homburg felt like one of those moments, because every major question was being answered in real time. Can she handle grass? Can she perform beside one of the sport's greatest champions? Can she manage pressure when opponents deliberately target her? Can she produce elite-level tennis when the moment demands it? The answers weren't theoretical anymore. They were visible. They were measurable. They were happening right in front of everyone. And the timing made it even more significant, because Wimbledon was approaching. That fact changes the entire meaning of this story. Grass court confidence is different from every other kind of confidence. It is fragile. It is difficult to earn. And once a player discovers it, everything changes. Suddenly shots are played with greater conviction. Movement becomes more natural. Decisions become faster. The court starts feeling smaller. Opportunities start looking larger. Most importantly, the player begins seeing themselves differently. And that may be the biggest development of all. Because beneath every rising star exists a private conversation that nobody else hears. Every young athlete carries it. No matter how talented they are, no matter how successful they become, there is always a voice asking difficult questions. Are you truly ready? Do you really belong at this level? Can you handle the pressure when everything is on the line? Those questions never disappear through compliments. They never disappear through rankings. They never disappear through predictions. They disappear through evidence. Real evidence. The kind earned in competition. The kind earned when pressure is unavoidable. The kind earned when failure is possible. That is what Alex gained in Germany. Not just a victory. Not just experience. Not just headlines. She gained proof. Proof that her game works on one of the sport's most unforgiving surfaces. Proof that pressure does not automatically overwhelm her. Proof that she can stand in important moments and respond with courage instead of hesitation. And once a player acquires that kind of proof, something fundamental changes. The ceiling starts moving. The limitations that once felt real begin disappearing. New possibilities emerge. Not because someone tells the player to believe, because the player has lived it. That is why this match mattered. Not because of what happened during those 2 sets. Because of what those 2 sets may lead to next. The final games arrived with tension still hanging in the air, but the outcome was becoming increasingly clear. Alex and Venus looked stronger, sharper, more certain. The energy had shifted completely. Then came the closing moments. The final push, the final breakthrough, the final confirmation. And when the last point ended, the scoreboard displayed a straightforward result. 6-3, 6-4. Simple numbers. But anyone who truly watched knew the story was far more complicated than that. Because hidden inside those numbers was a teenager discovering something powerful about herself. A teenager from the Philippines walking off a grass court in Germany carrying knowledge she did not possess when she walked on. Knowledge that cannot be taught. Knowledge that cannot be borrowed. Knowledge that must be earned. And perhaps the most astonishing part of all? She was still only 17. Still learning. Still growing. Still far from the finished version of herself. Which means this performance may not be the destination. It may only be the beginning. And as Wimbledon moved closer, one thought became impossible to ignore. The tennis world wasn't witnessing a promising young player hoping to arrive someday. It was witnessing a young player who might already be arriving right now. And if Bad Homburg was the signal, the rest of the season could become the announcement. Because sometimes a match is more than a match. Sometimes it is a warning, a glimpse, a preview of something bigger approaching. And on that afternoon in Germany, beside one of the greatest champions the sport has ever seen, Alex Eala gave the world exactly that. A preview. And the story is only getting started.